What's going on, guys? King Trash here, back with a video on the channel, and today is a low-key meal. We made the staple, the OG, one of the first videos I actually ever made when I started posting content to YouTube. The jerk chicken with the health rice and the Brussels sprouts. The remix. The jerk chicken, give you a little paraphrasing, the easiest recipe you will ever use because I use the marinade from a bottle. Now, you've got to make sure you go to a specialty store if you don't have any West Indian kind of stuff around. Luckily, most of my supermarkets do because there's a pretty decent West Indian population. So we have got 3 chicken breasts. I only use 1.5 here. I'll probably eat the rest after. I'm not going to sit here and chow down on 3 chicken breasts because that's just too much. But we cleaned them up. We made sure that we cut off all the excess fat, you know, a little funny cartilage. I don't like that. So we got those all ready to go. Then we've got our Ziploc bag. We put it inside the bag. We have the hot and spicy as well as the mild. I use a tablespoon of each because West Indians have absolutely no chill when it comes to spicy food. So they've gone a little too crazy for me since I'm only part West Indian. I ain't got that much, but so I use half and half on each. Then we used a tablespoon of garlic, and then halfway through I kind of just said, you know what, let's kick it up a little bit. So we've got some Scotch bonnet seasoning. I found it in the same aisle with the West Indian stuff, so we added that to it. Let that marinate. I did this before I left work, so it's been marinating for about 6 or 7 hours at that point. Once we done, popped into the air fryer, 350 for 30 minutes until it was ready to go, and out come these bad boys, which you see on your screen. And another Star Wars plug. As far as the rice goes, we have got just some regular long grain white rice that we had rinsed off already in our steamer, and then we added some of this tomato bouillon. It's tomato and chicken bouillon. I like it a lot. I have a lot of those different bouillons. Got chicken, the beef. Depending on what kind of rice I make, I usually will add about a half a teaspoon just to add a little flavor in there. And then we've got, of course, the garlic. Always got to have the garlic. And that sazon tropical. I should like have a contract with this company as much as the stuff that I use. So we cooked that off. Of course, we added our cauliflower to it. Always had the cauliflower in the white rice. And then we've got just some butter beans. This is from a can. Grace brand, West Indian vibes. And then, of course, the Brussels sprouts. I always have Brussels sprouts. I don't know why. Like, they don't even go with jerk chicken, but I always use that. So that is the finished product. All up in your face. Who is this? I'm making all this healthy food. Honestly, this is like 90% of my meals, but I just would have another 300 or 400 calories in cheese and other stuff. But usually it's just chicken, rice, vegetables. I've been kind of trying to add a little bit more beans. Not that I'm having problems like that. I like beans. They were on sale, so I got like 18 cans of them bad boys. So you're gonna see beans and stuff that might not even go. So I know the vibes. Let's get some chicken. Here, I'm just gonna grab this one by hand. No, we're not. You gotta get the perfect bite. You can't just be having freaking. All right, let's go with that one. Yeah, that's the good one right there. I gotta get one of these beans in here though. Let me get like two of them beans. Yo, here we go. So I got on the other side for you. That's the bite I'm looking for right there. Let's see. It's always a vibe, man. You notice I used chicken breast this time, all right? I had to. Last week I had vindaloo, which I had to add some chicken for extra protein. And these had to get used ASAP. Because they was about to start with the, you know that, the chicken to get the smelling, you don't want to. Let me know in the comments. This is serious. What is your expiration date for expirable types of foods? You know, the proteins, beef, chicken, etc. The milk. Maybe you got some fruit and some vegetables. Let me know. Because I have seen a lot of conflicting people. And this is so good though. Sometimes little low-key meals just like they hit. And the chicken breast, I always cook a little lower. Thighs I use 370. Breast 350 for a little longer. Because the higher you cook breast, the more it's going to dry out. I would cook it at 200 if I could. But I ain't got time for that. It's because I'm keeping it a full stack when it comes to expirables. The better off I am in life, the shorter the expiration date gets. When I was in college, y'all gonna say nasty. I don't care. I was poor. I didn't even look at the damn date. I just smelled it. If it smelled like it wouldn't kill me, I ate it. That's pretty much it. And I'll be the first to admit, in college, I ate some pretty questionable products. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, what don't kill me? Listen, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And if you were balling enough, which I wasn't, to buy a pack of chicken breast, especially in college, chicken breast run you, right? Run you $10, $12, $15, unless you got like 2 or 3, maybe like 8. But they're expensive. You gotta do what you gotta do. You couldn't just throw food away, because you don't know where your next meal is. There's no broke like college kid broke. Unless you grew up different than me. Because as an athlete, I think a common misconception is that athletes are like living good. We broke. I got no money. And I was on a full scholarship. I still ain't had no money. I was fortunate enough to get a car because my parents helped me out. You know, now, being quite honest, if I would have asked them for money, they probably would have tried to give me some, you know. But I was the type of person that, like, I didn't want to, you know, like, not that I was trying to be stubborn, but I felt like I was on my own, so I wanted to try to do as much as possible. And I know, like, my parents are by no means rich, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're broke, because they're not, but, you know, average middle class type of family. Like, I'm over 18, I shouldn't be trying to hit them up for money. But when they did come out to visit, I would go straight to Walmart and just, like, you get like $200 worth of groceries, bro, and I would feel so good. Anyway, we'll get to that. I was fortunate enough that my parents were cool enough to get me a car. Now, the car wasn't the best car in the world. It was a purple soccer mom minivan with like 250,000 miles on it. It had a lot of problems, but I was grateful as hell, and I turned that van into an iconic type of deal. Only bad part about having a van was anytime you went out, people knew you had a ride. You know, you gotta get a ride? You couldn't say ain't got no room. You got a van. So, it was what it was. But I was happy as hell. Like, I'm not a complainer. Like, I'm never the type of person that if you give me something that I'm, like, ungrateful for it. I don't care. Like, if I don't have no shoes and you give me a pair of shoes, they could be from Payless, 5 years old, with doo-doo stains on them. But I'm still grateful. Because, in my opinion, and that includes my own parents. Like I said, I was 18, they didn't have to anymore. And they still did. So I was happy as hell. Now, people think, you see athletes like, you really don't have nothing. So, I'll keep it a stack. I can say this now because I've been out of school for a while. I shouldn't get in trouble for this. Plausible deniability. So I'm gonna word it like this. We had meal plans, right? You get a card, and we were required by our coach to, allegedly, we're required to get at least 5 meals, which was dinner, Monday through Friday. You were allowed to get up to like 15 to 20, but the smaller meal plan you took, the more money you got on your refund check. People who don't know how scholarships work, just briefly, whatever the cost of full tuition is, whether you're in-state or out-of-state, in my case, I'm out-of-state, that includes room and board. right? It's covered. So what happens is, when you're a freshman, you live on campus, and you get a full meal plan. You have to live on campus as a freshman, so you don't get a refund check. When you move off campus your following year, in my case, whatever the cost of the room and board was, minus the cost of your meal plan, depending on which one you got that money back. They gave you a check. So, also you receive money. So if you received any aid, like you fill out your FAFSA, I always mess that up, because I say FAFSA. You fill out your FAFSA form. If you qualify for anything, that also goes into your refund check because you have a full scholarship. So, because I'm from New Jersey and the cost of living out here is much higher, I didn't receive any aid. Some of my teammates received aid plus, so they used to get fat checks. But I didn't. Because it goes off federal, so because I live here, the cost of living is much higher. Some people lived in places where the cost of living was lower, so their parents didn't make that much, or they came from, different kind of backgrounds, and they got much more money. I didn't, so I would try to get as small as meal plan as possible so I can get the money back. But you had to get the 5, at least during the season, so that after practice you had to go eat. Allegedly, I heard that some of the athletes, maybe, wasn't me, were so broke that you used to take stuff from the dining halls. Allegedly, stuff. Like, all kinds of stuff. Loaves of bread. Allegedly. Cups. Forks. Plates. Dishware. A couple straws. Chicken. Allegedly, I'm just speculating, this could have happened. Kids were so broke that you would take whatever meal, because dining halls in college, at least every college that I've ever heard, it's literally an all-you-can-eat buffet. Like, you walk in, and at my school, it was literally like 9 or 10 different places, and you could just go and pick whatever you wanted. So there was like a fast food one that had like hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. And then there was like a pasta one and a sandwich place where it was like almost like a Subway, but not Subway. And so on. There's like a dinner one and a breakfast one and the ice cream and the waffles, the waffle iron. Allegedly, people would go in there with Tupperware and take extra meal. Why I'm a former athlete, and the rules have now changed that players are allowed to make money off of themselves. People who don't know, as an athlete, when I was in school, it was illegal to make any extra money, improper benefits. Literally to the point that if you were at a restaurant and somebody was there and wanted to buy your food, you were not allowed to take it. That was a violation of NCAA rules, like no joke. You could not accept a ride from a booster if somebody wanted to give you $20, no. And so on. Meanwhile, you're taking food from the dining hall. There was a couple of situations, I know Reggie Bush was a big one, where, he got some stuff. I know there's the Ohio State situation where, this is all public knowledge, I'm not outing anybody. They were trading, when they beat Michigan, you get a little thing, it's called gold pants, you get this little charm thing, and they were trading stuff like that for tattoos. Very popular, even when I was in school, for a lot of the athletes. We got tattoos, tattoo parlor, we would all go, we paid. And, I know Johnny Manziel was another one, Heisman Trophy winner, signed a bunch of autographs, got paid for it. They all got in trouble for it. You can do that now. You're allowed to make money. There's kids in college now with $1 million endorsement deals. Now, as a former athlete, I do feel like I should weigh in on that, because some people are against it. Namely the damn coaches. I am all for it. There's no reason, in my opinion, why student athletes should not be able to make money off their name. There was a kicker at the University of Central Florida a couple of years back that got popular for his trick shots on YouTube. He was not allowed to monetize his content because it would have been an improper benefit. But a non-student athlete, shouldn't say average because that's not fair, could have. That to me makes zero sense. If you're a college student, you should be able to make money. And if your name becomes a brand, before this thing was signed, the school could make money off you, the NCAA can make money off of you, and everybody else besides you. And I don't think that's fair. I know people love to say things like, oh, well, you got a scholarship, that should be all. I vehemently disagree with that. Do you know how much money the athletic department generates for the school? Like, you see the facilities. Anybody who went to college can tell you. The facilities, the locker rooms, the stadium, the TV rights, all that stuff. So if I'm the head coach, I know the coach at Clemson was very against it, saying that it's ruining. How much money he make a year? Why don't you take a pay cut? And the students can get a stipend. Everybody gets a stipend. Right? Signing $10 million deals for like 10 years. And people will always argue against that kind of stuff, but I don't think it's fair that we put in, of course, the athletics and the school thing, which I'm grateful for, but if other people are making money off you, it shouldn't be that you can't. You get what I'm saying? And people say, well, I'm saying normal in quotes because I don't think that the word is right. Normal students can't do it. Normal students don't have to do that kind of stuff. You didn't have to take finals a week before so you can go play in a game, etc., etc. Normal students don't get Facebook threats. I did. Or spit on by random drunk fans at games. I did. Or pelted with water balloons. Or inflatable footballs. This is all normal stuff. If you're a college student and your name makes money, you should be able to see a cut of that. In my opinion. Before, we had to do things, appear at camps and all kinds of stuff for free. Which was fine. I didn't mind not doing it. But at the same time, somebody was getting paid. It wasn't me. I didn't even get a lunch. You know what I mean? So, I think that it's about time. And some people are like, oh, these kids shouldn't be having $1 million deals. Why? Some of these kids are more popular than athletes in the NFL. Like, do you know how popular Tim Tebow was at Florida? Or Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M? Trevor Lawrence at Clemson? He was more popular than half the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. That's real. His face was all over the place. And before 2014, players were on the cover of NCAA football. Players were in NCAA. They had to get rid of the game because of this. I was in the game. That's real. I got pictures, bro. That's not a joke. So you can be in the game, but I ain't making money off that? Not even like $1? I couldn't get a lunch? How much copies? I bought a copy. I paid money for a game that I was... Come on, man. I had every copy of NCAA football from like 1999 all the way up to 2014. I couldn't even get a copy of the damn game. I'm in it. Huh? So think about that. Professional athletes get copies of Madden. They're in the game. They weren't allowed to use our names, but they would literally make a black guy that said linebacker number 56. It's me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And as a younger kid, you were proud. You're, oh yeah, that's awesome, which is still awesome. But at the same time, now I'm looking back, I'm like, now everybody did get a check from that eventually. It was only like $20. But these kids should be able to make money. And all these people saying, oh, well, you'll make money in the pros. First of all, I was never going to be a professional athlete. I just want to make enough money to, like, I don't know, fix my tire when I got a flat. So I couldn't. when stuff happened, I really didn't have money. That's when I really had to lean on my parents. And I was fortunate enough to have parents that could help me out. But not everybody is, you know? And that's why it's not right. And everybody else, well, some of these kids, what if a kid gets hurt? That's why you're seeing all these kids now start to get smarter about sitting out bowl games so they can get ready for the league. And, you know, Kirk Herbstreit came out, who was a college football announcer, and said something along the lines of like, oh, these players, there's no passion anymore. Like, F you, Kurt. Like, seriously. Because if you get hurt in that game, nobody's going to give a shit about you. Ever again. Right? Jalen Smith was a linebacker. He played for the Giants for a brief cup of coffee, but he was a linebacker for the Cowboys for a while. He was really good, right? And he blew his knees out in college. And he dropped like 2 or 3 rounds in the draft from it. 2 or 3 rounds is millions of dollars, bro. Like, so sometimes you gotta be smart, you know? And it's not the kids opting out playing in national championship. It's kids opting out of meaningless bowl games. When I say meaningless, anybody who watches college football knows there's like, you know, the CompuServe.com, AOL.com credit union bowl in San Francisco where 2 6-6 teams play for a trophy that nobody gives a shit about. They dump french fries on the coach. Nobody cares about that game. You know who gets money for that game? The athletic department. I don't get no money. So these kids, this is my last game. Like, bro, is that one meaningless game gonna risk anything, like gonna mean nothing for you? You know? So I just feel like I'm glad these kids are starting to make money. Get your bag. Everybody else is. Everybody but the players in the NCAA makes money. Everybody. The athletic department, the coaches, the actual governing body of the NCAA, the bowl games, everybody making money besides people who are actually playing the damn game. And I look at it like it was just free labor. And yes, the scholarship is great, but it really doesn't cover your cost of living, and you do not have time to get a job. I didn't have time to get a job. I couldn't get a job. So I'm eating freaking ramen noodles. You know, ramen's good, but it's good, man. And that's not fair. It's not anything different than anybody else would say. In any form of anything. And I understand if you're a non-athlete that there's a hint of, like, disdain for athletes. But everybody knows, I don't care what school you're at. If you're at a major college, the athletic department drives the school. It brings in more money than anybody. I look at the stadiums in college football, right? Bryant-Denny Stadium, 100,000 people. Big House in Michigan, 100,000. That is one of the biggest stadiums on earth in any sport. If you look at the top 10 largest sports stadiums in the world, like 7 of them are college football stadiums. That should tell you something. That's how much money is in college football. But athletes don't see a dime, you know? You asking me for my travel suit back at the end of the year, bro. Like, what's good? You know what I'm saying? That's real, too. I kept mine, though. Equipment managers be all stingy with the equipment, unless if you're not good, you don't get nothing. But y'all know this inside stuff. I can't really out all that stuff, but it's wild, man. So I'm glad that you can at least make a little bit of money. You know, if you want to sign some autographs, you make a little bit of money. I'm not like, not everybody's gonna get thousands or hundreds of thousands or some case millions of dollars, but some kids you know how much money $100 to me was in college, bro? That could have fed me for a month. So if I could have signed some autographs somewhere and got like $50 to $100, bro, I'd have signed up for that all day. And now you can do that. You get what I'm saying? So that is dope. So that's kind of like my stance on it. I know there's a lot of people that like don't get it. Like, as a former athlete, I can tell you what it's like. Like, yes, I love being an athlete and I love representing the school and love playing football. But at the same time, I hated being broke. I wasn't trying to be rich. I was trying to just live okay. You get what I'm saying? I know kids on my team, and this is not a joke, bro. Like, again, I was fortunate enough to come from a home. I had both my parents and like, you know, so I could get a TV. Like, I brought my TV from home and stuff like that. I know kids on my team that had a bed. That's it. Lived in a house with like 5 people. Right? And just had a bed. Nothing else. You understand? You know, I was fortunate enough that, you know, the cost of living here was crazy. So an apartment in Iowa when I was at school was like, no joke, was like $400, $500 for like 2 bedrooms, bro. Yeah, you couldn't even get a studio in where I live for $500 a month. Not even close. If you want to live by yourself in New Jersey, you're paying $1,000 at least, and that's for nothing. Like for a small studio type of joint. Like if you want a bedroom, 2 bedrooms, you paying 15, 2 G's, and that's like not even in a decent neighborhood. I'm being 100. Like look this stuff up. It's the cost of living here is crazy. So out there, like $500 a month was balling. Like so people thought I was rich, and I'm like, nah, bro. Like, nah. Anyway, that's the end of that. I gotta eat the rest of this, right? I just wanted something like low key. I can just like I'm just gonna chop it up. The real ones are here. Tomorrow we'll be out of the kitchen more than likely. I've been trying to handle a lot of stuff, behind the scenes stuff. I'm not really gonna get into that kind of stuff, but so I'm tired, but the grind don't stop, and I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy making content. So we'll be back. We suck, by the way. I'm bright anyway. I'm not getting into that. We'll be back tomorrow. More content. I love y'all. Hand signs. They made it to YouTube.